One of the big reasons why I put energy into debunking Russiagate was when you push red baiting, which is what it is, and McCarthyism, which is what it is, and you insinuate someone is a traitor. Well, the old playbook is anybody to the left of a corporation, if you want to get rid of them, you say that they're a communist or they're too far left or they're Russian.
Into full seclusion,
No.
and they're never going to hear from me again.
No. First of all, that would only delight my adversaries. So I would never do that.
I like how that's her first go-to, though. Like that, like that's her first thing answering the question. It's like, well, my adversaries, that would make them happy.
Right.
I don't want like I just picture her like getting up in the morning and like having a sip of coffee. Like, what will my enemies think of this?
Yeah.
Is it pissing them off that I'm caffeinated? Good. And it's like, okay, you're crazy.
That's a very good observation. You're right.
I have a particular understanding of the Russian threat. And it's not going to only be Russia. I mean,
So you must be laying awake at night.
I do.
I have a particular understanding of this thing we made up to cover up for our loss. And now everybody repeats it as Bible, and that just shows you how strong propaganda works when you have the intelligence community and the media in your pocket.
So you must lay awake at night making more shit up. Was that going to be his question?
Like, he doesn't lean on her about, you really keep calling everybody Russians? You're not nuts with this? But watch what he does.
Worry a lot.
Because you know what the shenanigans are.
Yes, I worry a lot.
You've negotiated with them. You've seen secret intelligence.
I have.
And you know that, there's these guys who phone from Nigeria who phone your home and somehow finagle $6,000 out of you by doing that.
Yeah.
And they're brilliant at it.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what's going on when Vladimir Putin sits there and plans against the United States.
Well, but you can read the indictments against the Russians. And a lot of people didn't pay attention to it, but it's very informative and scary.
It's very informative and scary. It's not informative, but it is scary because there's no information in it except there's a lot of propaganda in it to scare you. The indictments? You mean the indictments of Russians that will never see the inside of a courtroom that was drawn up as complete propaganda? That's what she's talking about, Ron. You know what she's talking about,
yes,
right?
but I think she's also pointing out the one thing that's true is that not a lot of people paid attention to it because when did they have an opportunity to? I mean, MSNBC barely talked about it.
No, they'll
we,
go,
we never.
I know, right? So what about the Russians that were indicted? Why wasn't there ever a trial? Why was no one ever charged? Nothing in Russiagate, nothing. Nobody. What they went to jail for was for things that had nothing to do with it. Lying to the FBI or whatever. It had nothing to do with conspiracy with the Russians.
The Mueller report?
Yeah, the indictments.
Okay.
The report itself, I think, is also worth reading. But if you read the indictments, basically they were like, hey, let's do everything we can to elect Donald Trump. I mean, those are quotes.
Those are
taken,
words they
those
said.
are words that taken, and they also said Bernie Sanders, but, that's another for another
Do we
day.
hate Bernie?
So anybody to the left of the corporation is a Russian. So do you see what I'm saying? Now, John Howard Stern doesn't get challenged. Oh, no, Bernie Sanders is Russian too. He is too, right? Yeah, everybody is. Donald Trump is Russian. Everybody in Donald Trump's cabinet is Russian. Everybody in his campaign is Russian. Also, Tulsi Gabbard, a sitting congresswoman who's on the Intelligence Foreign Relations Committee and the Armed Services Committee, she's also a Russian. Now, Bernie Sanders, a guy who's been in government for, 40 years. He's a sitting senator. He's the one of the leading candidates for the Democratic nomination, also Russian. And let's just get back to the Russians and them influencing. Because I know there's going to be people watching this video who have never seen a video of ours, so I just want to go over this real quickly. This is from the New York magazine Intelligence. It says Russia's Facebook ads did they actually swing the election? So this is very quick. It says, we know, for example, that some institution linked to the Russian government, some institution linked to the Russian government, likely the infamous Internet Research Agency, which we already covered that for you. Go back and watch the video. Just a troll farm. A troll farm. The Internet Research Agency bought ads on Facebook between 2015 and 2017, which is what troll farms do, with the assumed intent, with the assumed We don't know what their intent was. We're assuming there was some institution that we assumed did something.
On the internet.
On the internet. We know that the ads concerned wedge issues like immigration, the Second Amendment, and police brutality. We even know what some of the Russian pages and accounts were.
Some of them had up to 300 followers.
And we know that around 3,000 ads were purchased at a cost of around $100,000. So of that $100,000, so this is what they're saying. So of that $100,000, half of those ads aired after the election. Just so you know. So it was really $50,000. Do you think $50,000 swung anybody's election on Facebook? $50,000. Other platforms like Google and Outbrain are investigating Russian ad buys on their own networks as well. We're going to get back to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what they also say. In contrast, the official Trump campaign spent $90 million on digital ads. So $50,000 from some institution that we assumed was intent on stoking anger. They spent $50,000. Trump alone spent $90 million. So that's just how, and I love how they say, here's what we don't know. Whether or not and to what extent the ads were effective at swinging votes.
Wow.
You mean the important thing? You know the thing that's important? We don't know.
We don't know that. That's why we put it at the end. We wanted you to read until now.
But let's not let that stop us from being hysterical.
Click the ad at the bottom. Buy that shit. We don't know anything.
So $90 million by Trump. And here is the former president. I think he's now just gotten promoted to the CEO of Google Alphabet. So he was testifying about how much Russian ads aired on the Google platforms. You ready for this? Watch this.
Thank you. Now, according to media reports, Google found evidence that Russian agents spent thousands of dollars to purchase ads on its advertising platforms that span multiple Google products as part of the agents.
Thousands of dollars, like $500,000 or $900,000? Or do you mean like $4? Well, let's find out.
Agents campaigned to interfere in the election 2 years ago. Additionally, Juniper Downs, head of global policy for YouTube, testified in July that YouTube had identified and shut down multiple channels containing thousands of videos associated with the Russian misinformation campaign. Does Google now know the full extent to which its online platforms were exploited by Russian actors in the election 2 years ago?
So what he just said is YouTube has already announced that they've shut down thousands of videos that they said was connected with Russia. Do you know how much money Russia spent on your Google platforms? Meaning YouTube, Google, ads, anything? You ready?
We we undertook a very thorough investigation, and in 2016, we now know that there were two main ad accounts linked to Russia, which advertised on Google for about $4,700 in advertising. We also found other limited.
Total of $4,700.
That's right, which was.
Wah, wah. That's Jerry Nadler doing the biggest mistake a lawyer can make, asking a question he didn't already know the answer to. He asked a question he didn't know. He thought it was going to be big. How much money did they spend? $4,700 across all of Google's platforms, meaning YouTube. $4,700. About as much money, not almost as much money as you would need to buy a used Taurus. That's our democracy is so fragile that $4,700 can swing it.